Now, the man who allegedly drove his vehicle into a group of counter-protesters in Charlottesville that injured 19 people and killed one has been identified as 20-year-old James Alex Field Jr. of Ohio. Now, Fields had recently traveled from Virginia to Ohio to take part in this Unite the Right rally, along with fellow white supremacist nationalists and so-called members of the alt-right. Now, look, I'm a big believer in protest, and I'm a big believer in counter-protest as well. Now, what this guy did, though, wasn't either of those things. It was actually heinous and should be rightly denounced by everyone. And it doesn't even matter if you're sympathetic to this guy's views. You should also be condemning this straight-up violence. Now, after all, when some of the violence at college campuses happened, people on the left, a lot of them actually condemned that and said, no, this guy's got a right to speak. Not to say that what they're speaking, these situations are was equal. They're not equal. Because what happened in Charlottesville was flat out murder. This guy intended to hurt people. You don't ram your car into a crowd of people hoping that you don't kill someone or don't hurt someone. No. Look, that's not peaceful protest. Now, of course, some in the alt-right community, some are praising this guy, and others claim, and get this, this is great, they claim that he's a leftist. Okay, we'll see about that, shall we? Now, according to election data, he's a registered Republican. Okay, well, look, number one, that's actually not a bad thing. Doesn't actually say anything. Plenty of Republicans are actually lovely people. I don't agree with them on a whole host of different issues. But okay, that's fine. The fact that he's a Republican, don't really care. Okay, not a big idea. Not a big problem. But to say he's a leftist, well, registering as a Republican, you have a really funny way of showing it. But is he a Nazi? Is that fair? Is it fair to call him a Nazi? You know, a lot of people are saying that him and a lot of the other protesters, they're Nazis, right? Now, I also know that a lot of people on the right tend to think that we on the left overuse that term. Now, look, in some cases, they might actually be right. We do overuse the term. Now, I even say that. But in this case, I think, well, how about we look at some evidence from people who knew this person? Now, one of them was his history teacher, Derek Weimer. Now, Weimer said he taught Fields during his junior and senior years at Randall K. Cooper High School back in Kentucky. Now, this was a class called America's Modern Wars. Now, for this class, Fields wrote a deeply researched paper about the Nazi military during World War II. Hey, man, that's a perfectly decent topic to broach. Hey, actually, very interesting. I'm also very interested in World War II history, right? So far, nothing wrong about doing some research. Okay? Now, here were some problems with this. Other than, look, again, it was very well done, very well researched, but there seemed to be a little bit of a tone behind it. In fact, the teacher said, quote, it was obvious that he had this fascination with Nazism and a big idolatry of Adolf Hitler. Quote, he had white supremacist views. He really believed in that stuff. Now, that's problematic. Now, they mentioned that his research was very well written, but it appeared to be a, quote, big love fest for the German military and the Waffen-SS. Oops. So, look, that seems fairly clear. He said he has a big idolatry for Adolf Hitler. Now, is it fair to call him a Nazi? Well, for my opinion, I think it'd be fair at this point and very obvious to say that yes, but there's more. Now, he also said he would say things that had that bent to it. Weimer told ABC News of Fields' interest in Nazism. He really thought the Nazis were pretty cool guys. Oh, again, super obvious, but there's more. Some of Fields' classmates at the school recalled a trip to Europe a group of students took after graduation in 2015. When they visited the Dachau concentration camp, two of the students on the trip said that when they arrived at the concentration camp, Fields said, quote, this is where the magic happened. Now, let me remind you what a concentration camp was. It's where they literally murdered people. They would gas them and they would burn them. And yet this guy refers to it as magic. Disgusting human being. Absolutely. And look, and if you agree with him, you are also a disgusting human being. End of story. I'm not even going to argue with you. If you think, you know, that Hitler was onto some ideas, you're a disgusting human being, and you're a piece of shit. All right. Now, speaking of pieces of shit, no, I probably shouldn't say that. Richard B. Spencer, leader in the white supremacist movement, who coined the term alt-right, said he wasn't aware of who Fields was, but was told he was a member of Vanguard America. Now, what's Vanguard America? Well, it turns out they build themselves as the face of American fascism. Is it still not fair to call him a Nazi? Look, if you're ignoring this and you're still saying that's not fair, well, then you're not paying attention. You're doing it on purpose. You are purposely ignoring this for a reason. Now, take Vanguard America, right? Now, Vanguard America, they're like, oh, no, we didn't have anything to do with this. They said in a statement, tweeted Saturday night, that they had denied any connection to Fields. However, in several photographs circulated online, Fields was seen with the group while sporting its unofficial uniform. He wore a white polo, baggy khakis, and sunglasses while holding a black shield that features a common Vanguard symbol, and in videos, members of the group chanted blood and soil. Now, as I said, that term, blood and soil, refers to a defining Nazi ideology that emphasized the idea that German blood belonged on German soil, and of course, in the American context, American blood, American soil, meaning essentially white people. Okay. But, of course, the denials will continue. The shields seen do not denote membership, nor does the white shirt, the group said in a statement. The shields were freely handed out to anyone in attendance. Sure. Okay. But what's funny is, for a non-member, he seemed to know a lot about them, their chants, their dress, and kind of knew what they were about. Very interesting. But what's more interesting is the fact that that group made no attempt to denounce Fields, nor did it express any sort of remorse for the lives that were lost. So basically, what they're doing is like, I don't know, man. I don't know this guy. I mean, he believes in everything that we believe, and he was at the rally, and he dressed like us, but he had nothing to do with us. And by the way, as far as any sort of remorse, no, none. None. All they were doing is throwing their boy under the bus. And with friends like these, man. And look, he might not have been a member of the group, but certainly it seems very clear that he agrees a lot with them. So, look, some people on the left, and this frustrates me every time, we're having a discussion on whether or not we should call them Nazis. For me, well, we're pretty well past that, I think. Let's call them what they are. They have revealed their true face. Fascism has come to America. Well, actually, it's been here for a very long time, but now it's been empowered. Okay? There is no better testament to that than what we saw in Charlottesville this last weekend. It's not even a question anymore. We should have no longer any doubt who we're dealing with. And we should have no problem calling them out by name. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.